Welcome to our drive-in theater. We have a wonderful evening's entertainment lined up for you, one that will provide several hours of pleasurable relaxation and diversion for you and your family. Did you fail to dress up for tonight's show? No tie, an old shirt and slacks, a house dress? Well, don't give it a thought. We're glad you came as you are.
It's Driveway Drive-In with your hosts, Adam and Paul. Welcome to the Monster Home.
Where do they come from? Why are they here? Why clowns? You'll laugh your head off. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It's crazy. Rated PG-13.
Starts Friday, May 20th at a theater near you.
Welcome to Driveway Drive-In. I'm your host, Paul.
I'm a co-host. My name's Adam.
And today we are reviewing the Chiodo brothers' classic film,
1985.
1985's Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is a movie about killer clowns from outer space.
That's the end of the review. No. They are, spoiler alert, they're from outer space, so they are aliens.
That look like clowns.
Right.
From Earth.
Yep.
Okay, so jumping into the movies, this is the Chiodo brothers' first and only feature film.
That's really interesting, by the way. Way to do a one and done.
Yeah, I mean, they were...
If you're going to make one movie, make a cult classic and then drop out.
Yeah. Well, they were special effects titans.
So, I mean, they were involved with many well-known and loved projects. This is just the one movie that they made themselves. They themselves have called this a labor of love, and it shows. It really shows, right?
It does. They are most famously known for creating some of cinema's most iconic scenes, including the large Marge reveal from Pee-wee's Big Adventure, which is a pretty monumental feat.
Top 5 I couldn't sleep for a month moments in my childhood.
Yeah.
Was large Marge. Because here you have this movie, it's Pee-wee.
Yeah.
And it's fun and games and everything. Like, it completely, you're not prepared for it.
You're not.
Like, there's no reason for me to have my guard up in this movie.
Yeah.
I'm a kid. It's Pee-wee. And suddenly, he's in a truck, and this woman turns into, like, my child, like, what my dream of hell itself is. Or,
pretty much.
It scarred me for life.
Yeah, and they were also on the visual effects for Critters, which is another classic that we'll be reviewing at some point on the show.
And I always thought, this definitely has a Critter-like vibe to it. I never thought of it until tonight, but this really goes. This would make a perfect double feature with Critters. They have like the two movies could absolutely coexist in the same world.
Critters versus Killer Clowns.
That was the thing. I had conjectured that in our Facebook horror group a while ago that would be a really cool crossover, not knowing that the special effects guys that did Critters actually did. Were the filmmakers of this movie. So that's kind of a cool coincidence.
And they did their own special effects. They designed the sets. They built the sets. I mean, they
designed the clowns themselves, which are iconic.
Yes. Yeah. The clown design is fantastic.
Any Halloween store, any Spirit Halloween store that comes around every October, you walk into one, you will see a replica of this movie somewhere in the store. I guarantee it. Yeah. I mean, the clown design, every single one of them looked unique in their own way.
Yeah. But they look like they were
the same, but different. Yeah. They're like the tall, skinny one. And then you had like the little midget guy. Then you had the kind of like the fat one with, he kind of looked like he had
Yeah.
Elephantitis of the testicles. But, they ran the gamut of like that, but they all had kind of like similar features.
They did.
I don't know. They were just really well developed.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, every single clown in this movie is pretty iconic, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say, before we even get into the movie and the plot synopsis, which I guess we should do next. Hear me out. Here's a minor rant for you horror, everybody in our horror nation, I guess. We have a Facebook group, and I see a lot of times where, okay, apparently the most iconic clown, murderous clown right now is Pennywise. And he's always lumped in art and other things with Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger and Jason and Chucky. And to me, it just always felt so forced.
Yeah, he kind of sticks out like a sore thumb.
I'm always just like, what is he doing there next to Michael Myers and Freddy?
Yeah.
I mean, Pennywise, really?
Yeah, and it's usually the Tim Curry one, which is the best part of the miniseries, but the miniseries...
Tim Curry's performance as Pennywise, iconic, right? The miniseries itself, very subpar. If you ever watch it again, look, I have nostalgia for it. Don't get me wrong, I grew up in that era. It wasn't a very good show.
Yeah, I heard a story about you holding your sisters at knife point, saying that they have to watch it.
That's a true story.
So,
and maybe I should admit to that because I could be brought up on charges. But I forced them to watch this clown show, and they, for whatever reason, still hold a grief against me to this day.
Yeah,
I wanted us all to see the new It movies.
Yeah,
I thought it would be funny if we all went together, and they were just like, "No, you're a complete
psycho
jerk," and we're not going to do that. But anyway, the entire reason I bring this up, and we are to a certain extent a fan of the It movies.
Yeah,
it's better than the miniseries, in our opinion. Anyway,
I still haven't watched part 2.
The only reason I bring this up is that everyone always wants to have like an iconic horror clown thrown into the mix, and I get that to an extent. But if you're going to go that route, why not go with the killer clowns from outer space? I mean, in my estimation, he would fit so much better with next to Chucky or Freddy, or especially that iconic design. And the movie is just, it's great, and we're going to get into that. But you couldn't make this movie again today. This was a labor of love, and there's a reason that it's still growing in popularity even today.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I remember we went to an amusement park for Halloween. It's in the Pittsburgh area. It's called Kennywood.
Phantom Fright Nights.
Phantom Fright Nights, right?
Back when we can actually walk around each other. That was a great time.
It was. Well, where they have the food, they almost always have Night of the Living Dead and Killer Clowns from Outer Space playing in like the center where like the food market is.
Yeah.
Where everyone gets their snacks and everything else and chills out. And it's always playing on the side of one of the haunted houses, which is kind of neat.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
So, I mean, it does have a place. Like one of the things I would love to get is like the Trick or Treat Studios, who makes like those really nice masks. I would love to get like the Killer Clowns ones, just so that my daughter would stop taking stuff out of my office.
You got her to watch this one, though, didn't you?
Huh?
Did you get her to watch this, or is this another movie?
No, she hasn't watched this one yet. Okay. And I told her she could.
Yeah, I don't think it would be.
I mean, there's a little bit of swearing, but it's not anything major.
Right.
So I'm going to go ahead and pull up a clip now. This is one of the greatest sci-fi tropes. The crazy old hermit sees the comet fall to the sky and needs to go investigate it with his dog.
Yeah, this is the guy. This guy's name was Royal Dano, and a lot of people might recognize him from. He was Gramps in House 2.
Yeah,
If you ever saw, he's the, the zombified cowboy, basically.
yeah.
He was also Uncle Ned in Goalies 2. He instantly stuck out to me as someone I recognized, but it took me a minute to figure out who this guy was.
All right, so I'll go ahead and pull that up real quick, and we'll be right back.
Well, I'll be greased and fried. What in blue blazes is the circus doing up in these parts? Yeah, I love the circus. Come on, maybe we can get us some free passes. Come on, Pooh. I never seen one that looked like this one before. Well, I don't know, Pooh. There's something kind of peculiar around here. Where is everybody? There ain't nobody around. Where's the dang ticket booth? How are we supposed to get in and see the show? Who? Pooh Bear? Where is that dog? Pooh? Something funny's happening around here. What in tarnation's going on here? Where's my dog? Where's my Pooh Bear? I'll tear this thing apart with my bare hands! This thing is wired!
Bring me back my Pooh Bear.
That's sad.
It kind of is.
You couldn't make that today. Like, today's horror audiences are not equipped to deal with even a dog dying of any kind.
Yeah.
But especially a dog named Pooh Bear.
Yeah, a dog named Pooh Bear. So first of all, I love like the crazy old hermit thing because that's kind of my fantasy in life is to just be like an old man by myself with a dog.
You're getting there with each passing day.
Every day I'm getting closer.
Yeah, I like him too. I mean, he's kind of reminiscent of the Herman from the Blob.
Yeah.
The guy who gets, the blob on his arm for the first time, or even like
Jordy.
Yeah,
Jordy from
Stephen King's role from Creepshow.
Yeah.
Just the crazy yokel hermit that lives by himself and, gets punished for it by some interdimensional being.
Like you see the meteor fall and you feel like you're going to be rich.
Yeah.
And
I love it because you've seen that happen in so many movies. The meteor falls and then everybody goes searching for it. It's just recognizable and it's kind of fun.
And the thing that I love about this scene was we watched some behind the scenes stuff for this. And every time the old man was leaving to go see the alien the dog would go in the opposite direction as if it knew something was wrong.
They always say that children and animals make the worst, co-stars in a film, right? Yeah.
But yeah, they did like take over and over again. And he kept saying, if you follow me, we can go to 21 and get something to eat. So I thought, I don't know. It was kind of a fun behind the scenes
I mean,
thing.
the trick is to put bacon in your pocket. I can't believe they didn't figure that out. You put bacon in your pocket, the dog will follow you anywhere.
Yeah.
I've used that trick before.
Or in the case of my dog, plastic.
Yeah, it likes to get into things that you shouldn't eat.
Yeah.
So,
my wallet.
Right. Let's circle back here though, because like not only did the old man see the comet, but so did it was Makeout Point.
Yeah, it was Makeout Point. Now this is a trope in a lot of science fiction movies where everybody goes to a group makeout session in cars and they all go to the same place. Now, a drive-in theater makes sense for it, but I can't imagine like going to like a spot in the woods with like a bunch of other people that I'm not with to make out. Did you ever go?
Oh yeah, I've done that before.
All right.
I mean,
you had a more adventurous youth than me.
That's what the outlook the outlook was for. But what I thought was interesting and what differed from like my experiences, like okay, they're all kind of parked in this like secluded area, and it's definitely the makeout spot. I think they call it like Top of the World.
Top of the World,
which is like that's kind of a cool name for it.
Yeah,
but like our
it's better than like STD Point,
right? But our lead guy, whose name is, and this is such a great name for a hero in a movie. This is when we're first introduced to Mike Tobacco,
who we found out was actually a real friend of the Chiodo brothers.
Yeah.
And, everybody in that movie was somebody that they grew up with.
It just sounds like a made up name that like a teenage girl would come up with when they're trying to impress their friends with like a boyfriend. Like,
yeah. Or if you
like
had
the Brady Bunch, like when James.
I think Mike Tobacco might be like the coolest name ever to have on a fake ID.
It would be. Yeah. You'd probably get served in any place. At least in West Virginia.
Yeah.
But like the Brady Bunch, like Jan Brady made up George Glass. Were you ever familiar with that? She just came up with the name like off the top of her head because she was looking at a glass. And they were like, "You don't have a boyfriend, Jen." And she was like, "Yeah, I do. George Glass." Just like sounds like one of those names. Like somebody came up with it off the top of their head. Yeah, my boyfriend. You'll never meet him. He's Mike Tobacco.
Mike Tobacco.
Anyways, like Mike Tobacco. Like first of all, they're in a van. That's how we're introduced to this guy.
Yeah,
he's with his romantic interest. Who
Debbie.
Oh, thank goodness.
Debbie.
I'm so tired of not remembering these people's names. Thanks, Paul.
Debbie. I remembered everybody's names this time.
And they're like lying in a raft. And we were both sitting there going, like, the raft was inside the van. And we were both sitting, like, that's industrious.
Yeah.
Like most people just sit on,
a blanket.
And I was like, can you imagine this guy blowing up the raft before his date?
Yeah.
Like, I got to get this blown up. I got to go pick up Debbie.
Yeah. But, and then she knows he's serious. He's got a boat.
He's got a boat. And girls love captains.
Yeah. And
he's breaking open the Don Perignon. Like, when I went out to the makeout point, it was like Boone's Farm or like Mad Dog 4040. This guy's got like the fancy champagne and he's pouring it in the glasses and they're like toasting.
While they're drinking in his boat.
Right. His raft of love.
His raft of love.
And that's when we're introduced to what we don't know will be integral characters, but they very are. The Ice Cream Twins.
Yes. Paul and Rick.
Right.
Or Paul and Adam.
I've been called worse. How would you describe these two?
Well, Paul and Rick are like pranksters who got into the ice cream truck business to pick up chicks.
chicks, they'll crave ice cream.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're kind of mentally deficient in a little bit of ways, wouldn't you say?
But yeah, let me go ahead and pull up this clip real quick.
It might explain it better than us talking about it.
Yeah, because this is their sales pitch to the teens at Top of the World, which, I don't know. You think it's a cool name. I think STD.
It's a little overdone. Yeah, you might be right.
It's a little too soft core trashy romance for me.
Gotcha.
Or whatever. Anyways, let me pull that up real quick.
I'm Chiodo, the ice cream clown with the bestest ice cream in town. We'll give you the stick, you give it a lick, and it'll tickle you all the way down. Ice cream, we brought our goodies here to you. A tasty treat for while you screw. Let's take a break. Cool off those hot lips with our tasty, frozen fruity bars. Icy Wicies, fudgy wudgy bars, and everyone's favorite frozen delight, the Lick-a-Stick.
Jeez, what the?
Get out of here, you morons! Hey, take your ice cream and get lost!
Oh, yeah? So you don't want any ice cream? Well, you're not getting any.
We were getting it before you showed up. Those guys, man, what the hell are they doing here?
Great idea, Paul. Everybody loves ice cream.
What do you mean? It was your idea. Hey, why don't we just park here for a while?
Hey, what are you guys trying to pull here?
Oh, well, we thought we'd park here for a while.
You said we could have all the ice cream we wanted, but you didn't say anything about parking. What kind of girls do you think we are?
I told you they weren't that stupid.
We want you to take us home right now. Yeah.
Take it easy. Keep your shirt on.
Don't worry, we intend to.
I was getting some until you showed up.
It was hilarious.
I mean, there's a lot of really genuinely funny lines in this movie.
Yeah.
You know, like one of my favorite parts in this is the cops, which we'll get into later.
These brothers, man, I don't know about these guys.
No,
like there's that part where they like kind of like tickle each other, like they're like the
they're
Pillsbury.
putting each other in headlocks.
Yeah, well, they like tickle each other and like giggle like they're the Pillsbury Doughboy. It's like,
yeah,
a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, I don't know. They're fun, and they're supporting heroes throughout the film, and we'll bring them up a little bit later when they are facing the clowns.
Right. So then I guess they go on their adventurer's journey to go find the comet that they saw.
Yes. So they go and they see the giant circus tent.
Yeah, so the comet has implanted itself into the ground, and there's a crater, and now there's a circus tent where the crater lays.
Yeah.
So
the guy is Mike Tobacco is taking Debbie through it, and he's trying his best to be like a sideshow ringmaster.
Yeah, he thinks it's like Circus Olay, like you know, like the French circus where like you know the naked people like standing on top of each other.
Yeah, he's
that's how he's trying to like calm her.
Yeah,
by describing it like
by
that.
Going into a circus tent that's in the middle of the woods.
Right.
So, and there's a really great scene in there. They open it up. The first door they go into is, kind of modeled after the chamber in Forbidden Planet. There's a lot of nods to like classic sci-fi movies throughout this.
Right, which these guys just loved, which inspired them. Like I think they said movies like what did it say? Like Crawl? Was it Crawl? Or
No, it wasn't Crawl. I mean, that was
maybe that's one that inspired me.
That's one that inspired you
to be the man that I am today.
It is.
Now, what are some of the movies that they said?
No, they wanted to bring in they go into the first room that has the chamber from Forbidden Planet.
Right.
And then they go into a second room in which they have the cotton candy cocoons.
Yeah.
Which were modeled after
was it Body Snatchers or was it
Body Snatchers? Yeah. There's a lot of different homages in there to classic sci-fi films.
You can pick them up, if you're like a hardcore horror fan, like they're Easter eggs, basically.
Yeah, they're Easter eggs. That's when they determined that by swiping the cotton candy, there's a great scene in which this isn't how cotton candy is made.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, Debbie's upset because this isn't how they store cotton candy.
Right.
You put it in the bag.
Right.
Otherwise, you'll get all sorts of nastiness in it, right?
Yeah, she seems pretty concerned about that.
Yeah. But they take a swipe and then they revealed the bloody face, which kind of reminded me of the Blob almost.
Oh, yeah. Or even like Aliens or Alien.
Yeah.
Like when they're like, in the, I guess Aliens, when they're like cocooned up against the wall.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a really fun scene. So, of course, they run back to the police. The one is main character. His name is Lieutenant Dave. Lieutenant Dave, I feel, was modeled after Lieutenant Dave from The Blob, which was the cool cop who was young and understood the teens and believes them.
That wouldn't surprise me at all. They're both named Dave, right?
Yeah.
And it's like a really common trope. The kids, they find the alien menace. They try to explain it to the adults or to the police, and nobody believes them, except for this one guy. This one guy who's on their level.
But I think the genius of Killer Klowns from the Outer Space is that you cannot explain what's happening.
You can't.
Without sounding completely
insane. Like, think about calling like a 911 call or talking to the operator and trying to explain that these killer clowns are throwing popcorn at you, and it's somehow an emergency.
Yeah,
like, they wouldn't buy it.
No, not at all. And so I think it's a great story. I mean, it's not like.
But back to like what you were saying about like you can't describe this movie, or I'm sorry, they can't tell the authorities what's happening without sounding like they're completely freaking nuts.
Yeah,
this makes me wonder, like, how did evolution on these clown planets even go?
Yeah.
Like, how did they get the clown influence on their culture?
Yeah, like, was there like an evil clown sent into space?
Yeah.
That like started a clown cult?
Yeah. Or is it like, Pittsburgh, where like when you do a genealogy test and you find out you're 5% Irish, suddenly you start talking in a Boston accent, and like that becomes like your identity. Like, how did they turn into like why did the clown thing appeal to them?
Yeah, like even the technology, like they have the spaceship control that like shoots popcorn around,
right?
And
you're wondering like, well, how does that going to hurt you?
Yeah, no. We find out how later on. The popcorn is the seeds of evil clown lizards.
So they start running to get out of this joint once the aliens discover them.
Yeah.
And that's when, like, and I remember this from my first viewing, and I still think it's probably my favorite effect in the movie is when the one killer clown makes the balloon animals.
Yes.
So he makes these balloon animals that like become sentient and like run after you and try to kill you.
Which is insane.
The balloon animals are just great in a work of evil cinematic genius. Like to come up with that, that's so funny.
Yeah, and they're like on the trail of like these balloon dogs are chasing them. And,
it's the only time you see them in the movie, but it's great.
It's ridiculous. They make it to the police station now. The law enforcement community of the town that this takes place in consists of Lieutenant Dave and Officer
Mooney, the best character in the movie.
Mooney, yeah.
And it's always, like, growing up, I always thought that I belonged in one of these small towns that had, like, a chief and a couple of deputies.
Yeah.
I just think I would have thrived in a place like that.
He would. It's just like you have, a little bit of a, late night going on. And, it'd be like, Mr. Backus, we got your room ready for you.
Inevitably, I would have become like that guy.
Yeah.
And
it's like, don't forget our loyalty rewards program.
And the police station is like in a strip mall.
Yeah.
It's like sandwiched between like a Dollar Tree and a nail salon. Yeah. Like that's the police station in this town.
Mooney is just like this guy who's clearly counting the minutes down till he can retire. And
he speaks like an 80s WWF wrestler cutting a promo.
Okay. He's played by Paul Vernon, who was the dean in Animal House and the jerk mayor in Dirty Harry.
Basically playing the same guy, right?
Yeah.
In all these movies?
Yeah, he's always just like...
But he does it well.
He does. And, like he shows up, he only takes place in one location, which means I think they could only afford him for like a couple of days.
Right.
So like...
It's one of those performances where he's like sitting down most of the time.
Yeah.
Like, you're not paying me to stand up.
Yeah. And
you want me to stand up? You better cough off some more dough.
Yeah. But yeah, Paul Vernon, man, he
brings it though. He brings
it. Hard-boiled cop, and he has a lot of spite for Lieutenant Dave because Lieutenant Dave went to the police academy.
Yeah, the quote-unquote police academy. Like, where did you get? Okay, so Lieutenant Dave went through the proper means to become a police officer.
I think Officer Mooney just was born with that face, and they're like, "Hey, you want to be a cop?" And he's like, "Okay."
Well, how did Mooney, like, what did he do? Like, call into, like, a radio show contest where they were offering out police jobs?
How did he... I just think it's his mean face. Yeah. And you're like, you'd be perfect for this job.
Right. I guess so.
And he doesn't follow, like, any standard police work. Like, he wants to beat up some college kids.
Yeah, all he wants to do is bully people and read his gun magazine. It's like ammo.
Yeah, he's reading like an ammo magazine and chuckling.
Right.
But Mooney's a great character.
Absolutely.
Great character. And, he has his meltdown once the clowns show up. And he assumes that the entire town is trying to get him to leave the force.
Right.
So
how delusional.
He's like, so he's just letting the phone ring because he's so tired of clown calls. Yeah. He might be like the worst police officer in the history of cinema.
He might be. He just thinks everything is a conspiracy against him.
Yeah.
Like everything is a conspiracy to get him to like retire early.
Yeah. But he wants that full pension, and he knows exactly how long he has to do.
And he's not going to let these full kids.
He's got the great trope too, where he has like the drawer with the Jack Daniels.
I love that one where they can just drink on the job.
Yeah, he's like they're not going to get the best of me.
Yeah, he's like a Scooby-Doo villain in a way.
Yeah, but
best character in the movie.
Best character in the movie.
Even when he meets his demise. I mean, spoiler. Like, you kind of don't, even though he kind of deserves it. You're kind of like, oh man, that guy's not in the movie anymore.
Yeah, I mean, who's gonna fill this movie with some like much needed sarcasm and darkness?
Right, right, and unearned hatred of the youth.
Yeah,
because he just hates everybody that's young.
Yeah, he does.
It's like, okay, boomer.
Oh, gosh.
Anyways.
So so Dave believes the kids because he is the ex-boyfriend of Debbie.
Oh, yes.
And
there is a love triangle.
Yeah, there's a love triangle. And real quick, I'm going to just say this. Throughout the movie, Dave won.
Yeah, Dave did win. When there was like, it was supposed to be like all right, forgive me. It was supposed to be like a Twilight thing, I think, where there was like Team Edward and Team Jacob.
Yeah.
I think we were supposed to be like Team Mike Tobacco and Team Dave, Officer Dave. But like whenever this lady was in peril and they both came to rescue her, who did she always go to? Dave. Guy in a uniform.
Yeah. But I'm going to go ahead and pull up this clip real quick. This is Mike Tobacco and Dave. After they've established that the threat is real, they're talking to each other about Debbie. And there's a lot of male posturing going on.
Yeah.
So let me go ahead and pull this clip
Testosterone
up.
through the roof.
Testosterone through the roof.
I'll call the state police up in Marlboro. They've got a lab. Maybe somebody up there can tell us what this stuff is. It's not cotton candy, that's for sure.
Yes, finally, that's what I've been telling you.
Look, I'm sorry I was a little tough on you back there. It's been a hard night. Having Debbie involved just makes it a lot more difficult.
What can I say? I didn't know she...
Hey, it's got nothing to do with you, really. It's me. It's obvious she goes for laughs, not stability.
So, there you go. And she goes for laughs, not stability. I've heard that before. Like, that was my whole MO.
Yeah.
In like high school in my 20s.
Right?
Can make them laugh. I can't hold a job.
Pretty much.
Didn't work for me.
I don't know.
Tried my hardest.
Yeah, well, it didn't really work for me either. So
now the clowns kind of go on their kind of spree of violence, do they not? This is when they start terrorizing the town.
Yeah, and we have like the town, like the first scene we see is a guy trying to escape Makeout Point, and the clown runs him off the road. That was actually originally supposed to be the opening of the movie, but they decided to just add it to a montage because it wasn't a strong enough opening.
Right.
So we have that scene.
It's a really cool scene, though.
It is a cool scene.
Because he's like riding along. He's not riding anything. He's basically just floating around.
Yeah, but he has like
car.
headlights attached to his feet.
Right. So it's kind of like a cool effect. It kind of looks like he's, riding like a motorcycle or something, but it's really not. It's just like the clown, floating around, outside his car, terrorizing him. Yeah,
and then we have the biker bar scene where the clown shows up on his bicycle.
That's the smallest of the clowns. Like the small kind of cute one kind of rolls up on his tricycle.
Yeah.
And like all the bikers are outside the bar. Why are the bikers always outside the bar? Like the beer's inside.
I don't know. You can't smoke.
Like they're just waiting for somebody to walk around and push over or something.
But they have, so we have the first clown murder that we see.
One of them anyway.
Yeah, one of the first ones.
When he gets mad that the one biker destroys his tricycle.
And he says, "What are you going to do? Knock my block off?" And then he does. He punches his head right off, and then all the bikers take off in fear.
And as cheesy as that sounds, it works. It's really it's fun. And you kind of like applaud the clown. That's the thing. Like you're not supposed to really hate these clowns. You're also supposed to kind of like root for them in certain situations.
Yeah, and so the clowns go and they
terrorize,
murder, kidnap, cotton candy,
pillage.
Yeah, they trash a store, and
so now all these phone calls, like now that the clowns are evident, right? They're obvious. They're in the town. They're tearing stuff up, and all these phone calls are going back to Mooney, back at the police office.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's just ignoring all of them.
The two phones of the police force are ringing off the hook. All two of them.
Yeah.
He's left alone to answer all two of these phones. And he still doesn't believe it. He still thinks it's a conspiracy.
Yeah, he does.
He doesn't believe anything that anyone's saying.
He's just reading his ammo magazine, waiting for his shift to be over.
He's convinced.
He's one day closer to retirement.
Right. He's convinced that the entire town is against him.
Yes. And so then one of the clowns shows up into the police office, and
that's a great scene.
It is a great
like lighting a cigar. He's like, "Oh, you walked into the wrong police office, bud," or whatever he says.
There's no rights in Mooney country,
right?
And
then the clown shoots water in his face.
Yeah,
Mooney takes the flower money shot right in his face.
Yeah, pretty much. And it ruins his cigar.
Right.
And so he puts him in the cell. And then the clown takes one of those noisemakers, and it's got a hand built into it, because every instance of murder for these clowns is rooted in some kind of joke.
Right.
And they kill Mooney, and Dave finally gets back to the police station, and the clown is using Mooney's body as a ventriloquist dummy and making him talk.
That's that is a high point of this movie.
It really is.
That's so funny. It's kind of Mooney's been such a jerk this entire movie, so you expect him to have kind of a grand send-off.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it was just great.
It really is. And that's when they find out that the secret to demolishing the clowns is to shoot them in the nose.
Yeah. It's kind of like Night of the Living Dead, shoot them, they're all messed up,
Yeah.
Shoot them in the brain. In this instance, it's shoot them in the nose.
Yeah. So that's the only weak spot on these alien clowns.
Is their giant bulbous noses?
Yes.
that stick out like a sore thumb?
If they covered their noses with their face masks, they might have had a fighting chance.
Right. If you thought the aliens in Signs had a poor weakness when they landed on a planet comprised 70% of water, and their weakness was water.
Yeah.
These aliens have these giant freaking noses that all you have to do is shoot them, and they're anyway.
Punch them.
Yeah. One of them, I think you punch them in the nose and they explode.
Yeah, which is kind of, I don't know, it's fun.
That's great. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't have to.
Yeah,
it's one of those movies. So, all right. So at this point, our Mike Tobacco, our hero.
Yes.
Officer Dave.
Mike teams up with the Ice Cream Twins.
Right. And they all go basically to, they're the villagers with the pitchforks going into the...
Well, they have to save Debbie, who's in a balloon.
Oh, yeah, I kind of went over that. Yeah. And everyone else got turned into cotton candy, but she got turned into a balloon. What's up with that?
It's never explained. Unless they were going to use it for, clown breeding.
There's always the threat of that. Clown breeding.
Well, we'll get into that later, because they have to go rescue her from the Big Top, which is in the middle of an amusement park now. And so everybody's following this truck of clowns, and the ice cream truck, which has a giant clown on it, and then the police car.
Doesn't he sound crazy just talking about this?
Yeah.
All he's doing is describing the movie to you. And he sounds nuts.
It does.
Imagine one of these characters trying to call the cops. And so maybe you can relate. So, all right. So they get into the flying saucer, the circus tent.
Yes. And we lose the...
the ice cream twins fall into a ball pit.
Yes.
a ball pit, and there's like these two, I guess, female clowns.
Yeah.
Which I thought that there would be some sort of like violent interaction there, but like instead, the female clowns, like they just use their abilities to make their breasts look larger.
Yes. And they can't get out of the ball pit.
So at that point, you're not sure if you're ever going to see the ice cream twins ever again.
Yeah.
But
you know, like, how cool is it that they have a ball pit?
Well, that's, you know,
in a spaceship.
I worked at a place called Dino Kingdom, which was basically Chuck E. Cheese with dinosaurs. And I was in my early 20s. Sorry, segue here, but when is the next time I'm going to be able to talk about a ball pit? Looking at our lineup, our films, I don't think we have any more that have a ball pit in them.
All right.
So, 21, you're just starting drinking. I'm working at this place, and my job is basically to clean the facility. But like during, when the kids are in school, man, it's just free reign in that place. I can play the games myself. I can do whatever I want. So I would show up hungover, usually at 8 a.m, and just bury myself in the ball pit.
Yeah.
My manager would be looking for me, and I'd hear him. They'd go, anyone see Adam? And I would just like kind of like dig deeper. I would just like burrow like a prairie dog deeper into the ball pit.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to say anything else about that, except if you ever have a chance to take a nap in a ball pit, do so. But make sure it's one that doesn't have any kids in it.
Yeah, that would be weird.
Yeah. So anyway, so at that point, we don't know if the ice cream twins are still around.
Yeah, and the main protagonist team of Debbie, Dave, and Mike is like running away from the clowns throughout the spaceship.
Can I bring up one thing?
Yes.
Remember there was a scene where one of these aliens was, apparently they drink the blood. Right? They're almost like space vampires.
Yeah, that's actually in this scene.
And like he brings out like this crazy freaking straw to like puncture the cotton candy cocoon.
Yes.
And like he's drinking the blood that way. And that just made me think of like birthday parties that I was at that had these. Remember the crazy straws?
Yeah, crazy.
What happened to
straws
crazy
amazing.
straws?
I know. You think with like the anti-straw movement that they would make a comeback.
Crazy straws were amazing. They were so much fun.
They were. I don't know if I have the lung capacity for them anymore.
That'd be a good test.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. Please continue.
Okay. So, yeah, we have the escape, and then we find out they get trapped and surrounded by all the clowns, and then somehow the ice cream twins, Paul and Rick, break through the wall with their ice cream truck with a giant clown on it, and they pretend to be the god of clowns.
They had lipstick marks all over their faces, Paul.
They did.
And the lipstick marks were in the shape of clown mouths.
Yeah.
Was that an insinuated clown orgy?
Probably. I mean, they were extra brave.
That's shocking.
Yeah.
That's shocking.
Yeah. I mean, you think they'd show that scene.
But this was a very Return of the Jedi, C-3PO pretending to be the god, with the Ewoks.
Yeah.
Like they're pretending to be the god because they have this ice cream truck with this giant clown head on top of it.
Yeah.
And like, they're like, we are
the great JoJo.
Yeah, we are the great JoJo. And like all the aliens the clowns are like pretty, visibly scared. And that's when they call in like their big boss.
Clownzilla.
Yeah, who's like basically King Kong made up like a clown. He's like a giant ape made up like a clown.
Yeah, he's got a clown head. And it's ridiculous.
Got an ape body and a clown head.
Yeah. And they have to escape after they blow up the ice cream truck. Clownzilla smashes the ice cream truck and throws it, and it catches on fire.
Right.
And we assume that the ice cream twins are dead. And Dave decides to do the final sacrifice of fighting Clownzilla so that Mike Tobacco and Debbie can escape the spaceship.
Right.
And it turns out that all you have to do is punch him in the nose.
Yeah, all that build-up.
Yeah. And we find out the ice cream twins also survived, as well as Dave, when the clown ship explodes.
Was the romantic triangle ever resolved?
Well, she did run up to Dave when she found out he was still kicking.
Yeah, seriously. Like, are they all living together now? Is it like a...
polyamorous?
Yeah.
No.
Are they still kicking today?
I think Mike Tobacco is back with the ice cream twins. Driving the truck, trying to pick up women.
It was meant to be.
It was.
Mike Tobacco and the ice cream twins were meant for each other.
Yeah.
And Debbie and Dave were meant for each other.
Yeah.
Star-crossed lovers.
They were.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up our final clip. This is a scene in which we'll pull up the scene with the ice cream twins pretending to be the god of clowns.
Good one to pick.
All right, we'll come back with our final review.
Do what I say or else. Give me the mic.
I am the great and powerful JoJo. I command you to stop. Do not hurt them. Let them go. You will obey me. Let them go.
Rick, Paul! Oh, man, I'm glad to see you guys. Come on, let's go. Get in the truck. Let's go. Come on, Mike. Come on, Debbie. Come on, Rick. I'm trying. Turn it the right way. Rick! Come on, Rick. Pull the choke. Pull the choke.
So there we have it.
Even when they're trying to be the god of clowns, they still can't get along.
Right.
So, but I don't know. I love this movie.
I did too. I did want to say, like, this is one of these movies that I did not grow up with. For some reason, like, I knew it existed. I just avoided it. I don't know. It just seemed too campy.
Yeah.
Yeah, campy at one point was a bad word. Now I look out for movies that are campy. Like, I love them.
Yeah, and I don't know. I love Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I think as far as movies go, it never spawned any sequels, unofficial or official. There's no Italian Killer Clowns from Outer Space 2.
Which is such a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
I mean, so many of these movies, you know, they try to spawn a franchise. And honestly, I'm sure the brothers probably anticipated that, let's be honest, with the amount of work that they put into this. But, like, the fact that it was just one movie, I mean, there's something to be said for that. I mean, franchises inevitably decline.
Yeah, and it's like, what more could you do with it? I mean, they told a very complete story. You know, like
Killer Clowns versus Critters.
Yeah.
That's what they could have done.
Yeah.
Killer Clowns versus Critters.
Yeah.
Because they both worked on both films. Could have been, I don't know. I just envisioned the bounty hunters from the Critters going after the Killer Clowns, and I don't know, there's Krites involved. That would have been a great movie.
It would have.
Sorry, I get crazy sometimes thinking about these crossover movies. But anyway, other than that,
yeah,
you couldn't have really advanced the story anymore unless you just told the same, same story with a different cast of characters.
Yeah, or they came back to the same town where they were defeated.
Right.
But
who really wanted to see that? It ended on a perfect note, and I mean, it has cult status.
It does, and it has a pretty loyal following. And, you know, as far as movies go like this, it's one of those ones that I just enjoy watching. I always make like an annual tradition of watching this movie just because it's so much fun.
I saw this for the first time in your driveway.
Yeah, and
I think it's more pop. I said this before. I think it's more popular now than it was back when it was made.
well, yeah, we watched the interview with the actor that plays Nick Tobacco.
And that was essentially his opinion, but like,
Yeah.
but it holds true.
It does, and he says that he's constantly greeted by people that say the killer clowns from outer space, and they call him by the name Mike Tobacco. They're like, "You're Mike Tobacco. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is my favorite movie of all time," and I can see a lot of people actually saying that.
I
'cause
can
it's-
too.
I mean, as far as movies like this, it's one of the best.
Can you imagine going through life having people shout Mike Tobacco at you?
Yeah.
Mike Tobacco. Like, that's great.
This. So, yeah, I recommend this if you like a good campy sci-fi horror
It's
movie.
the Willy Wonka of horror movies.
Yes.
Like Willy Wonka, like what category can you even put that film in? You really can't. It's a genre of itself.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, like this movie is similar. Like you can't. It's not straight up horror, although it clearly is.
Yeah.
But it's like they were out to like entertain you and with the oddness more than they were trying to like scare you. And I just think that that shows. I mean, this, like I said before, it's a labor of love, and that in and of itself make me want to recommend this movie.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's our show today. Tune in with us next week for Adam's pick.
And we'll see you next time at the drive-in. And until next time, here's to swimming with bow-legged women.
To a new world of gods and monsters. Cheers.
Cheers.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.